what we're going to do on this event, before I got started on this, I thought, you know what? A goal setting can be a complicated task, and there's so many different aspects of it that we can bring in and look at different dynamics and have those little aha moments to make our life and our business easier. But on this event, I'm going to go through some things fairly quickly here at the beginning, and then I want this to be a conversation. If you have a question, ask the question, whatever it's about. We're focusing on goals and business, but if you have something else you want to ask, feel free to put it in the chat box. Denise is going to be managing the chat box, and then she is also going to be piping up when they come in, and we will answer all your questions. But right now, I'm actually going to go through here. If I can pull up my screen, I'm going to share my screen. What I wanted to talk about is goals, and I'm kind of bouncing around some different topics here. The reason being, I want to focus on what the questions are that have been coming in from members. The top questions, the top struggles, and surprisingly, sometimes there's simple solutions that can get complicated when we get into the weeds and we focus in on the small details, and we kind of forget the overall picture. And the reason I like goals is because it gives us something tangible. It puts a deadline on time. It gives us a sense of urgency, and it really makes us think about, hey, what do I want out of business? And really, what do I want out of life? Because business is a huge chunk of our life, and it affects our life. And we've probably heard this before. What is a goal? What makes a goal that can be accomplished, that we're not beating ourselves up, but we're actually getting return from a goal? And you've probably all heard of this, a SMART goal, something that's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Those 5 elements need to be in a goal in order for us to get results, because we all want results. We don't make goals just for the fun of it, and they're not artwork on the wall. There's something we need to accomplish. But out of all 5 of these areas, where I personally see real estate agents fail out of working with over 32,000 agents is they don't have realistic goals. So I like, instead of relevant, I like realistic. What can I realistically do in a year? Yes, that's great. That's going to be the big goal. But 6 months, quarterly, 30 days, 1 week, 1 day. If I keep narrowing it down, we can find out how realistic is this goal. Because a lot of times as agents, we say, you know what I want to do in 2020, I want to list 50 homes, 60 homes, 100 homes, or I want to only list 5, $10 million homes. And that's great. It's great to have a dream. It's great to have a vision and something to fight for, even if we don't necessarily get exactly to that. But to make it more realistic, we want to take it down from 60 days or 6 months, a year, 6 months, 4 months, 30 days, a week, and a day, and really make it realistic. And this is really where you'll flesh out your goals to make sure that they connect with where you want to go, how much time you want to spend, and the resources you have available. Now, here's one thing that you can do, and maybe put it on a piece of paper. You probably already have your goals by now, but to kind of flesh them out. If in 2019, say I listed 20 homes, in 2020, I want to list 50 homes, here's the thing to look at. What has changed in 2020 that wasn't in place in 2019? You'll have efficiency. You'll have new resources. You'll have new ways you can do stuff. You probably have some new tools. So you need to list all those, but then what has changed in your market? Has your market grown? Is there more real estate agents in your market? So then you're going to need to control your lead source. Another thing that I would point out, when you build a goal, make it a habit. Build habits, not resistance. A lot of times, I mean, I have a gym by my house and I see it fill up. It's full right now. Parking lot's full. November, December, October, the parking lot was pretty much empty. People go in there and they think, I'm going to get buff, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do whatever. And if we bite off too much, a goal that's tied to a dream and a desire now becomes a nightmare, now becomes something that we dread to think about because we've failed. because we've took on too much resistance and we've done things that are going to build resistance in our life versus habits that are going to build momentum and help us move forward. And one way to handle this is don't do too many things. Less is more. If you can perfect something and then move to the next thing, it's going to be way more effective. And I know as real estate agents, we have so many things going on. We have closings, inspections, lead sources. I mean, we're the CEO, we're the CFO, we're the marketing department, we're human resources. You know, if we have assistants, we're everything. And so we have a lot going on. And so if we can simplify, narrow down the things that we're doing to get leads, doing to get business and listings, a lot of times less is more. And I kind of had this epiphany, which it kind of concreted when I was at the National Association of Realtors in San Francisco. And I'm walking through the trade show, talking to realtors, had a great time, met a lot of members there. But I realized as an agent, if I implemented all these things that I saw, I would be 6 feet under in my grave and I would still have a list because there's so many options out there and there's so little time and there's always new ones coming up. And so by always chasing the new thing, a lot of times we don't complete things. We don't complete things to a point in our real estate business in order to have that be a process that keeps on giving. So a lot of times goals can be like, okay, here's my 60-day goal. I want to have this in place and I want to have a process for it. And then after that's complete, I'm going to build this other niche of leads coming in, or I'm going to buy another lead source, or I'm going to expand my territory and then have another phase. And so your annual goals can also be in phases. When one's complete, this other one starts. That way you're not sitting in January and you have like 30 things to start, and the reality is you can't start all of those and make them effective. And another thing to do is to break it down step by step with action items. A step-by-step plan broken down is not, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. I want to list 50 homes. I want to get, I want to invest into 5 pieces of real estate. I want to do this. That's not an action plan. That's a dream board. An action plan, what am I going to do to make this a reality? And then break it down, like I said, 12 months, 6 months, 4 months, 30 days, 7 days, 1 day. What am I going to do every day? Write your plan down and then flesh it out. When you actually write things down, it concretes them in our mind, and then we can flesh out, I want to do that and I want to do that. But in reality, now that I look at my action plan, my step-by-step plan, I know I can't do that unless I get rid of my social life. I have no time with my kids. I have 15-hour work days. Unrealistic things like that kind of set us up for failure. So when you have a plan, write it down and flesh it out. And then the goal is to start as quick as you can, and then have rewards, small wins along the way that are going to really concrete it in your mind that, hey, this is the direction I want to go, and yes, it's worth it to me. So start the plan. That's why I don't like goals that have everything's going to start in January. So I'm going to take this 50-lane highway. I'm going to go from a 1-lane highway to a 50-lane highway in January and try to do all these things throughout the year. Start small and then have it build up in phases and reward yourself along the way. And another thing on rewards, we react different to pain or pleasure. Different personalities. There was a study I read the other day that 75% of us react to pain. I mean, me personally, I react to pain. I had a problem speaking in front of audiences, and I just dealt with it as much as I could. And then the pain got so strong that I joined Toastmasters so I could speak better. That's just my motivator. Pain is my motivator. And one reason that I have this New Year's goal to spend my time with the members and to focus on the members is because I felt like I was getting drawn away and I wasn't able to deliver that value and collaborate with the members and deliver value. And for me, that is personally fulfilling. So I'd look at your goals, see if you're motivated more by pain or pleasure, and make your rewards along the way accordingly. Now, another thing when you make a goal, to make it real, to make it something that's really concrete, Visual's important, verbal's important, but it has to have actions. I was talking to a real estate agent in New Jersey, and she had just read the book, The Secret. I don't know if anyone has read that book, about how if you visualize something, you think about something enough, it'll happen. And nothing was happening. All these dreams, all these ambitions, and she said all these things were going to happen, but the reality was you got to have that action behind it. It's the meat in the sandwich. It's what's going to take you from where you're at to where you want to be. And I am a big believer in having a dream and having it be visual and having it be something that's real to you, but it has to result in an action. Nobody ever did anything, got anywhere by just doing nothing. Now, another thing to look at in your big real estate goal, let's kind of break this down. What's your big goal? Maybe put it in the chat box. Is your big goal to list, how many homes do you want to list this year? Do you want to list 20, 50, 30, 10, whatever it is, put it in the chat box, and let's look at what comes into how many homes that you want to list in 2020. Now, you're going to want to first look at, now, okay, what's my marketing budget? If I want to list 50 homes, I only listed 50 last year, what's my marketing budget? And what is it going to look like in order to make that happen? So I want to list 50 homes. We're getting 24, 12, 15. Now let's look at our marketing budget. Do I have more time or do I have more money? One is not necessarily less than the other. I've seen agents with a $200 marketing budget a year, and they've just started out, and they have more time, and they're doing things that the agents who don't have the time can't do. They're door knocking, they're boots on the ground, they're networking, they're doing things that cost $0, and they're getting listings, and they're getting a lot of listings. And so don't be overwhelmed, or if you don't have that, or underwhelmed if you don't have the money, and don't be overwhelmed if you don't have the time, because there's a place for both. But most often I hear agents say, I don't have the money. But so if you don't have the money, then you should have the time to do some of these things. So that's one thing you're going to want to keep in mind. Another thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is, what's your lead source? Okay, expireds, FSBOs. Do I have a specialty niche maybe? Sphere of influence. Maybe put in the chat box, what niche are you going after? What's your lead source? And the thing you're going to want to do is prepare that lead source. Have it something that you're prepared to market to. If it's your sphere of influence, you're going to market differently than an expired or a FSBOs or a specialty niche. You may work with people who are going through a divorce, or I see Patrick there, Patricia, that's her sphere. Your sphere of influence, you're going to nurture that differently and grow that than you would another niche. And so it's important to be prepared to whatever lead source you have. And then look at your area. Maybe you have a 10-mile radius around your office, and that's like, man, I wish I could get all my listings here. Okay, that's great. Then have a little further one out. That's maybe a B grade and a C grade. So you kind of have your areas laid out, because many times if you can't get a hold of a home seller, that means all the other agents probably aren't getting a hold of them. If you go knock on that door, if you go show your face, you're going to have a huge advantage, because most agents aren't being able to get a hold of them by phone. Now, you can also do this by mail and then follow up with a phone call or a door knock. I see Jerry there. He says he's working with military and veterans. And that's big. That's a big market in our country, and it's something that you can really relate to other people, especially if it's something that you can relate to if you've been in the service, or if you have family, or you're just an expert for people who are in the service. Now, another thing you're going to want to look at is your price point. What's your ideal price point? Are you high end? Are you starter home? Are you medium? The medium price point? Focus in on that. The whole goal here is to have your leads in your area and your customer avatar, which is who do you want to service. Have those clarified, and so I can spend more on this lead, and I don't want to spend as much on this lead. And that way you're not just blowing money or delivering the wrong information to the wrong person. And this is where I see a lot of agents kind of stumble. These things don't match up. The marketing budget's a big thing. I hear a lot of people saying I don't have one, or I have too little of one. or they're just throwing money at everything. Lead sources is huge because it's not how much stuff you throw out there, it's where it goes, and that's going to determine on what it means to the people that you're delivering your mailings or your phone calls to, and that's going to determine your return. And then your area and your price point as well. And as you're going through all this, as you're getting your goals honed in and you're getting started, I mean, we're already into January, the 7th of January, and you may have experienced a bad day. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to fall off track. We all do. I mean, there's days I show up and I literally feel like I'm just trying to get through the day. Maybe I don't feel good, or maybe something else is happening. And that's just normal. We're going to have those days. And it's a matter of realizing that, again, being realistic about it and realizing, here's what I'm going to do when I have one of those days, I have one of those weeks. I'm going to reset, restart according to my goals, and then continue to go on from there. And one thing I want to close up with before we get into conversations and questions again is leverage your strengths. What's your strengths? What's your sales style? Are you the closer, the consultant, the builders? Are you someone who builds relationships? Are you a networker? And they're all a little different, and we all have something that we're strong at, our strength, and then we have things that we're okay at. And then if you're like me, you have weaknesses. I have weaknesses. I'm trying to manage my weaknesses, leverage my strengths, and then the stuff that's in between, kind of utilize it the best I can. But the biggest point is to, what's your sales style, and to leverage that, because that's going to determine your goals. That's going to determine what you put on your paper. Now, sometimes we mix this up. We say, what are we doing? This is what I'm doing. I'm doing a high close, high pitch sales style, but it's not my strength, but I'm doing it because someone else is doing it. It's going to be really hard. I mean, the closer is someone who's perceived to be theoretical, confident. They're going to go in there, deal with rejection. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go and go and go. I'm going to close and close. If I can't close you, I'm going to throw you out. That's like a hard closer, someone who's just really adamant on getting the deal. And if I can't get the deal right here, right now, and then I don't want to talk to you again. And we all have little elements of this in our style. But if that's your style, if you want to only deal with people who are ready to sell right here, right now for the right price, and then that might be something that you want to tailor your goals to and just generate a lot of leads. Consultant style. Consultants are perceived as experts in their industry. They really seek to educate their prospects or customers. And they're usually academically inclined. They're motivated by management opportunities. And this is just a test that was done by a university. But as a real estate agent, a consultant's going to give valuable information. Maybe you're going to give a book. Maybe you're going to give a book. This is valuable information. This is going to help them answer those questions in their mind, but it's also going to be selling you to them. And so consultative is a selling style. Now a builder is someone who really gets into relationships. They want to have long, deep relationships with their customers. Their customers are probably their friends. I talked to an agent in California, and I asked him how he nurtured his sphere, and he said, well, I'm going to dinner with someone I sold a house to 10 years ago. They bought another house 3 years ago. I have, it was the end of the year. He said, I have 5 Christmas events that I got invited to. I have a family dinner that someone invited me to. And he was really built deep relationships and sold 40 to 50 homes a year. So that's another style. And then the networker, someone that's really going to get in there and just close the deal at a chamber mixer, going to build rapport, going to build trust really quickly, which you could use your book for that as well. And then that's just going to get to the point and become someone who's going to almost be in the friend zone, like after one face-to-face. That's a networker. They have high stamina, and they can really build rapport quick, and they can help help their clients become friends really quick. So now I want you to think about, what's your sales style? Are you a networker? Are you a closer? Maybe just put it in the chat box. What what's your sales style? Let's kind of see where everyone's coming from here. Are you the networker? Are you the closer? Are you the consultant? Or are you the relationship builder? And then we're just talking about your strength. We're not talking about, oh, I'm a networker and a closer, because you could have a lot of these. It's kind of like a personality test where you have different personalities, and there's different percentages in each one. See David here. He says, I'm the consultative closer. Phil, closer, consultant, networker, Mark. Michael says consultant. Patricia, consultant, networker. And how do you do that? So now you put in the chat box what your strength is. On a closer, if you're a closer, how are you doing that? Do you have a lead source that you're going through pretty quick and you're getting a lot of leads and closing them? Or are you nurturing those first? Looks like Phil, he has ISAs calling them for me and then following up. Phil, how is that working out for you? What's your burn rate on leads? If you have 1,000 leads, how many of those are you able to have your ISA get a hold of? And then how much are you able to follow up with? Because I was talking to an agent in Denver, and they were spending, he had a team of 3, and he was spending about $15,000 a month on leads, and he was keeping 3 agents busy, but his process was intense. Like, he would text, call, email, call multiple times, and if they entered the wrong number on the lead, when they submitted it, he had somebody actually researching the right number, and then he would call them. So Phil here says he's booking about 5% to appointment. Phil, are you buying leads, or are those leads that you are producing organically? We call, text, have a video drip campaign. Okay, so Phil, it sounds like you've really systemized it. Can you unmute, and then we can just talk? I think that's really interesting because I have a lot of agents talking about this. So, Phil, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hear me?
Nice. Thanks for jumping on. So it sounds like you've really built out a process.
Yeah, I've had video drips before. I used to use BombBomb. Now I completely got rid of them because the cost got ridiculous. I mean, it's all about ROI. So now I'm using it's called a Drib, which is a little, more effective product, and it's got a better CRM. But when my lead comes in, it's called by my ISA within the first 5 minutes. Within the first 2 seconds, I have a voicemail drop that goes right to their phone, doesn't ring. Then they have a text goes out to them within 3 minutes. Then a email goes out to them in 5 minutes. Then half an hour later, I have a video that I shot introducing myself to them with my face in front of them so they know who we are, that we're not a stranger. And then on that video drip, I have it going out right now to 185 days. So it goes from day 1, day 3, day 7, day 10, day 14, day 21. It goes all the way out. So I shot different videos, whether it's for a buyer or a seller. So between a buyer and a seller, my videos are different. And so is my message.
And what was the longest that you run out? You said 185 days? You there, Phil? I think I lost you. Denise, do we still have Phil on here, or did he jump off?
And there we go. Somehow I got unmuted.
Oh.
Maybe I did something. But
okay,
it goes out to 185 days. I used to have it for a year, but I got rid of those because the message I had was not with today's market. So I'm reshooting them now. So I got a few more to shoot before I get them back on there. And of course, my message is different between a seller and a buyer.
That's pretty impressive that you took the time to build all this out. Have you done this for a while, or is this something newer to your business?
So I used to use, when I say I use BombBomb, been doing videos now for 7 years. I was really strong about it 7 years ago. then I slacked off. You know, that's typical of all us agents. You know, when something's not working, well, what's the next best? What's the next golden ticket? We try to look for what's there. You know, spend money foolishly. You know, so we just need to go back what's working.
I totally agree with you on that. Focus on what's working and perfect it. And then if it doesn't work, find out why it didn't work, because many times it's not the whole thing that didn't work. It's a missing link somewhere. Fix that link. But it sounds like you'll really be able to track this. 185 days out. What's that, Denise? You hear that? Somebody's alarm went off. Hopefully that wasn't your get out of bed alarm.
That's the closer, either buy or get out of my office.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, that now that's really good. The red light goes off. They closed the deal. So Phil, do you give out coffee for closers?
ABC, always be closing.
How many leads do you think you'll go through this year?
I will probably go through roughly around 5,000 leads.
And do you have a budget that you'll spend on those leads, or you just kind of take it as it comes?
I'm spending about $30,000 a year.
And is that pretty consistent weekly?
Pretty consistent, and that's including your books too that I have.
How are you utilizing your books in this process?
So every listing appointment I go to, I have the book on the table. They don't get it unless they sign up.
So you take the book and you set it on the table and you say something about it, or you just continue through the presentation?
No, as soon as I get there, I welcome them as, welcome, go in. I said, let's walk through the house. I put my stuff on the table, and I take my book out and put it right next to my presentation in a pad. I don't use computer. I'm the old school. I use like a placemat and explains everything to them, because everyone has the iPad. So, you're not differentiating yourself from anybody else. So you're the old agent that has the same thing about everyone else has. Well, I'm different. I'm the outside the box thinker. So by having a book there, I'm baiting a hook. They're going to want to see what's in there. Well, no, you can't have that.
Wow, I love the presentation style of the mat, because when everyone zigs, sometimes you can zag to be different. And I always liked it when they could take a dry erase marker. They would have laminated and they'd write on it as they're presenting. And Phil, I think you're muted again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. So yeah, I really like your approach.
Yeah. So I used to be a vice president of a timeshare company. So that's where my mentality comes from.
Wow. Anybody on here have a question for Phil? Does it make sense what he's doing? Because he's taking an approach that we don't see a whole lot in the real estate industry. And it's probably because you came from the timeshare side of things, where you probably built a process more and managed it. And I like how you said, looking for the golden ticket. A lot of times we start chasing something else and we stop doing what's working. But it sounds like you've kind of had a little jog like that in your journey, and you're back to doing this and perfecting it.
That's correct.
A question came in. Which book are you using?
So I have, let me look here. I got the divorce book, which I'm not using right. I'm not focusing on that. I should be. I bought a bunch of those books. I use a buyer's book. I use the listing book. I use two of them, the business card book and how to sell your home for more money. And I have the divorce, and we have the expired guide, or for sale by owner guide. That's the books I have.
Okay, so you're using, but the most of them that you're using is the buyer and seller, the divorce.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. Yep. So I have a bunch of divorce, and they're just sitting there. I haven't done a darn thing with them. They're collecting dust.
Yeah, the divorce niche. The divorce niche is a little harder to get into, and it takes a little more dedication. It sounds like what you're doing with your process, you have a good source of leads coming in. Let's see. Someone asked, what's the name of the video drip program you're currently using? Are you using a program?
So I shot my videos on, let me see, where's, on it's DUBB, it's Dub Videos. That's who I'm using. Lot less money than Boomtown. I mean, Boomtown BombBomb. And I got more cost effective, and it's really more of a follow-up campaign that tracks everything on it. And, you know, versus paying $300 a month, I'm only paying, I think it's like $40 a month. And it's easy to use. It's DUBB.
DUBB. So Dub Video, and that seems very inexpensive.
Yeah, it is. You can shoot on a computer. You can shoot from your phone. It's whatever you want to do. So it's great. It's almost like Facebook Live. You shoot your phone and send it out.
Since we're on the topic of videos, I know we kind of started out as talking about goals, but like I said earlier, I'm going to open this up. You know, it's open to questions, so you guys determine what we talk about. So if anybody has anything they want to talk about, start putting it in the chat box. But I want to say something about videos, because I was at the National Association of Realtors convention in San Francisco last year, and I was talking to people about videos, and a lot of agents said, you know what, Joe, I know they work. I can't do them. I don't like looking at myself. I don't like hearing my voice. I don't think other people will. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to be kind of blunt here, so forgive me if it comes across too harsh. Your face, my face, whoever else's face is walking around this earth, people have been looking at for a long time. So sometimes we need to forget that, and we just need to start doing videos. You know, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you see will be something that can, you know, add value and make your goals become more of a reality. And when you use video, you can do a call to action with your book as well. You can do it a couple ways. You know, hey, I'm Joe here with ABC Real Estate. You know, maybe I'm at an open house. So I'm at an open house on 123 Elm Street, and I just wanted to give a shout out to anyone who's going to stop by, you know, talk about the house, and then at the end of the video, come by and get a free copy of my book. I'm going to give a copy of my book to everyone who comes by today. And have your book in the video. Make a motion, you know, even like you're handing it to them in the video. And that can be a great call to action, because not only can you use your book in person or on a flyer, you can use it in video as well. Phil, do you talk about your book in your video? Have you tried that yet?
Yeah, I do. And here's a problem that people get complaining about video is they're afraid that it's not professionally done. You know what? It doesn't need professionally done. People don't care about that. They want to see you personally. So what if you mess up in talking? Keep going. It's not a big deal. So I mentioned my book. I got a call to action with the book. I got a call to action on buyers. You know, you buy a home with us, you don't like it, we'll sell it for free. You know, I got a seller call to action. You know, we'll sell your home for free. We got to bait the hook to get them to respond to you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point you bring up there, Phil, because videos aren't going to be professional. For the longest time, we didn't do videos, and it was, you go to the camera store, it's like, you know, am I going to do a cell phone, or am I going to do a $30,000 camera, or should I do a $20, $30 camera, or my computer camera? And it ranges. There's all these different bells and whistles. You don't need a good camera. If anything, if you want to make your videos look good, which I don't have too good of lighting in here because we're adjusting some of the studio lighting, have lighting, have natural light, go outside. You know, if you're giving a video and it's getting too dark where it looks like you have, you know, raccoon eyes because the shadows are like this, have some light. The video camera really doesn't matter.
You know, it's true because, you know, I have in my office, I had the green screen, I had the lights, I have all that garbage. And you know what? I don't want to use it anymore. I use my iPhone or I'm talking from my computer. That's it. There's no need for anything else. If I want a backdrop, you know what? I'm going to spend $5, send my video to Fiverr, and let them do it. Not wasting my time. It's not dollar producing money for me.
That's a good point. And this is something we should keep in mind when our goals. That's kind of why I touched on strengths. What's the dollar producing tasks, and turn those into dollar producing hours, dollar producing days, instead of, if I spent all day as a real estate agent editing a video, that's like insane. That's like business suicide, because I'm not a video editor. And so I like what you said. $5, that's going to get me out on the street, get me in front of people doing my listing presentation. Do it like Phil. Put the book there and let them ask about it. You don't. And I talked to another agent, and he said he would talk to people. He was more of a networker, and he would do this. He would hand the book, and he would say, hey, after you start talking to them about real estate, he'd say, hey, I'm going to give you this book, and you're going to give me your contact information so I can follow up and see how you liked it. And he would extend his hand as he said that. And he said 99% of the time, their hand's already on the book. They already have the book in their hand as he's finishing the sentence about, hey, you're going to give me your information so I can follow up with you about this, that he would get their information. And so I think that's another way, too. You can use the book and as well as on closing, too.
Yeah, and it's good, because the book there builds credibility. And when you're out there with them, I'm telling them right up front, I don't paint no rosy picture. It's my high D personality. Listen, what I'm going to tell you today, you might not want to hear, you might not like, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. If you think your home's worth more than I do, I don't need it. I don't need my sign out front. If you don't like me, that's no problem. Doesn't bother me. Not everybody likes me. I'm from the Northeast. I'm going to tell you the way it is. You don't like it? I'm sorry. That's just me.
I mean, that's to the point. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear. And even if it comes across initially, like they're like, whoa, I think how you said it. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear because I care about your asset. You're kind of setting yourself up to just be blunt and then have that consultative sales approach as well.
And you have another coming across strong. That book right in front of them, it adds a credibility. I'm not bullshitting them. Here's the book. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, it's to the point, because a lot of other agents are coming in there. It's in our industry, and I love realtors, but sometimes the things we do aren't the best for us, like me eating too many French fries. But a lot of times real estate agents have all this fluff, all this BS, and so if you come in there cut and dry, it sets you apart like right out of the gate. Now, I do have another question here from Regina, and she says, what's the best program to use to shoot videos for a home that is over 1 minute? Tried to send an 8-minute video on my phone yesterday, and my client could not open it.
So I've used my iPhone, and I've used that dub.com one that I have. And the nice about dub.com is you can actually stop the video, then go to another room. So you're not having that 8-minute long video as you're walking. And it'll automatically bring it all together. You don't have to do any trim work or anything. It automatically does it for you.
Yeah, that's a good point, because what Regina's doing, I've done on my iPhone. If the video is too long, you can't text it. The file's too big. And so by shortening your videos with Dub and having a precise walkthrough of the house, you can shorten them. And then you can also, if the video, Phil, on Dub, does it allow you to host the video as well? Like you upload it there?
Yes.
And so then when you text a link, does it come across as a link or an image?
It comes as an image, not a link, because that's one of the big things to me was because the images the links don't get clicked on.
Yep.
So it comes across as a GIF, so it's right there.
Oh, so it's a GIF, so it has that little movement like BombBomb. Yep. That's really important, because on text, like you said, links don't get clicked, but if it's a picture, if it's a GIF, something with a little movement, it'll really get their attention and they'll click it. Wow, I didn't anticipate us talking about video, but it's kind of the way the conversation went. That's why I just had a short and dry presentation about goals, because I wanted to make sure we got everyone's questions in.
And, like Cisco, if anybody knows who they are, they're big in the internet and security and stuff. you know, they're forecasting over 50% of people will be on video by the end of this year.
Yeah, no, it's the way we're going. Our attention span is getting shorter. And what's interesting too, it used to be that oh well, old people, you know, will still use the phone book. No, they don't use the phone book anymore. Old people won't text. Old people are texting. Old people, young people. There's a transition going on, and video is a big thing. And I like it as well because it shows your personality. It shows a smile on your face. Hopefully it's a smile. And it shows more than just text or audio, and they recognize your face. If they get your book in the mail, if they get a video texted, all these things, what we're trying to do is tell your story differently, show your face differently, and in the seller or buyer's mind, take you and set you differently from the rest. And Phil, I like how you said that, to really separate yourself is the key. And I think that's what you're doing with videos.
I'm getting ready to do I'm going to be probably next month or so. I'm going to do some video over a 15 and 30-second commercial on local TV here. So I don't know where some people are here, but some of you might know Mark Spain out of Atlanta, Georgia. He's just tearing it up. I mean, I'm in a Raleigh market, and he listed last year 514 homes in our area. And that's all because his advertisements on TV. You know, and I know he spent some big money. He's got the billboards, but, you know, he's getting the results. You got to spend money to make money. That's that's the truth in real estate. It's not an inexpensive business, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember Mark when he first got started, and he didn't go from 0 to 100. He built and built and built. And the thing is, if you're spending $10 and getting, you know, $12 out of the process, or you're spending $10,000 or $10 million and getting $12,000 or $12 million out of the process, that's something that you can repeat over and over and perfect and build it. And so I think it kind of goes back to like have your goals in place and then be consistent with them and improve upon them as you go through the year. And so you get to next year and you're not copy and pasting the same goals at the end of the year. You're actually saying, okay, this is what I accomplished. Now, next year, I'm going to go even bigger and even further. And so, yeah, it's that Mark Spain, his journey is pretty crazy. So is that your goal, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, the message is what you got to get out. And, you know, when people call you, they're not going to, like, he has a guaranteed sale promo, okay? It ain't 100% people he's going in and buy their home. You know, it's not happening. You know, so my point is, did I lose you? My point is I'm going to go in different. I'm going to go, we'll sell your home for free. But they got to buy another home with us. Did I lose you?
Yeah. No, I'm here.
Okay.
So yeah, you're making yourself maybe more vulnerable by putting that out there, but it's a controlled risk. It's an educated decision on that you're not going to buy everybody's house. You know, it just won't happen. You have clause in place, but it gets their attention and hooks them in. How has that worked for you so far, Phil?
It's working great. So, you know, people want their home sold for free, and they got to buy another home with us within 60 days. So I'm not sitting on my money. I'm being spent a long time. And, of course, when they buy a home with me, I'm charging them more commission. I got to make it up some of my money on the front end. So, you know, I'm charging the buyers 3.6%. So whatever I'm short on, I'm getting paid from either the buyer, either a credit card, check, or I'm trying to get it from the seller at closing, whether it's closing costs or whatever. And I charge money up front, you know, on a seller for my photographer and all that. I'm not doing that for free. I'm covering that cost.
Okay, so you have a marketing fee.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. How many are you having a lot of people that are selling and buying in that same window, or do some of them fall out of that?
Some fall out. So I'm mainly right now just building that on Facebook. I have Facebook ads. I have a video that goes out. I got its own separate website that I got just for a video, explains the whole process. 10 is about a 90-second video. And you know, I had it done on Fiverr for like, I think $50. I wrote the script. They put everything else together for me. And they spoke. It wasn't me talking because I talked too fast. So for $50, I had the whole darn thing done for me on Fiverr. And the video is in my thing. And I had that go into my Carter site. I don't use ClickFunnels. I use Carter because it's got more of a CRM on the back end versus ClickFunnels.
Wow. Is this what you did in your MLM? Or not MLM, sorry. In what was the other business you were in? Timeshare?
So I was in timeshare, probably 16 years ago. So I worked in the Caribbean. I was a vice president company. We started with 2 resorts. When I left, we had over 12 properties in the Caribbean and doing almost $800 million a year in sales. So, you know, I taught acquisitions, taught people how to get a credit card in your pocket in 90 seconds. You know, when it comes down to the closing presentation. So, you know, you got to paint the story, tell third-party stories. And that's the thing about the book. You know, that's a third-party story.
Wow, I guess I kind of picked up on that when you started talking about your process, that you've been in other businesses other than just real estate. Because the process you laid out, I think, is a great process and has a lot of details to it that'll make it work. Wow. So any other questions before we wrap it up? And again, I'm going to do 2 of these sessions a little differently each month, and we're going to have Q&A sessions as well. So please remember that as well moving forward, that we're going to be in a lot more contact.
So Joe, let me ask you a question. I know you got some new stuff coming out. So tell me about the expired thing that you guys say, hey, so easy list expireds. You get 6 expireds a month by you guys sending the books out for us instead of us doing it, and whatever system you got in place, because, you know, there's not too many expires right now in the market. Yeah,
good question, Phil. With our Done For You program, you're going to spend about $25. We're going to provide the lead. We're going to pull the lead for you, mail out the book, and then we're going to mail out, I think it's 10 other pieces of information behind the book. So as an expired, they're going to be a little closer together. So they're literally going to have, I don't have them on my desk right now, from you, they're going to have a book mailed to them. As soon as the home goes expired, a couple days later, they're going to receive a book. And then every couple days, they're going to receive another piece of mail. And I wish I could show it here, but I don't have it with me. That's going to build out a pain point. And so they're going to get 12 different pieces of mail from you, and all you have to do is follow up in between those mail pieces, and each one can be a conversation. And you know, when we launched this is because members came to us and they said, Joe, I love the book. I love the idea. I'm trying to mail it, and I keep forgetting. I don't have a consistent system. So we said, you know what? We didn't really want to do it because it's a lot of work. But we started doing it where, you know, A to Z, all you have to do, you'll have a dashboard on your computer. The lead will pop up and say, you know, Randy Johnson here just received your book. Call him up and ask him about the book. 2 days later, Randy Johnson just received, you know, your piece of mail about, if it's a FSBO, about, you know, how people can take advantage of FSBOs if they're not represented correctly. And then you can follow up about that one. And then if the lead gets listed or expires, or you list it, and then we stop the mailing. So we're pulling the leads, we're checking the leads to make sure they're not expired, we're mailing out the book, and we're mailing out all the other pieces of mail, you know, in sequence after the book. That's essentially what it is.
So are you using the old format as far from smart agents, like the rapid urgent delivery, dated material, open immediately, envelope for the book, first response?
Yeah, we're going more informative like the book, and I'm going to send out we'll send out an email with the how the content's laid out, but it's more informative, and then we're letting the agents be, you know, with their follow up, start the conversation and then go in and close, because the goal is to get you face to face.
Okay.
So yeah, it's necessarily the letters. It's more of a newsletter format in between.
Because I do have a stack when I'm not when I'm not going to appointments. If I see it for sale by owner, or if I get a lead, when I'm getting all the stuff that we pay for. If I'm in the area, I got my back seat. I got all these envelopes stuffed with the for sale by owner book and information about me. I'll just put it in a darn mailbox and drop it off, or I'll go knock on a door.
How many mailings will you have, Phil, in your process? Like, will you mail out once and follow up and then leave it at that? Or?
So, there's only so many hours in a day.
Yep.
So there is stuff that's fallen through the trees. And I'm not 100%. I'm not afraid to admit that I spend money foolishly and I've done things. But you know what? If I have 10 books out and I get one response, well, you know what the book cost me? $3-4 when I buy them in volume. So it's $40 for that lead. I'll take leads all day long that I could close for $40 per lead.
No, that's exactly what you said. The books are expensive compared to a business card, but how many business cards do you have to give out to make an impact? And think about the book. If you mail it out and they don't sell their house with you, they give it to a neighbor, they put it on a bookshelf. When I was doing real estate in Jacksonville, I went to a listing that I got, and I looked through their bookcase, and they had my book in there. It was when we first started the book. And I was kind of embarrassed about that book because that was a long time ago when we didn't have it written correctly because I'm not a writer. But that's exactly what you said, Phil. If you give out a book, you give out 10 books, you get one listing. It's not only that one listing as well, which it's totally worth it, but your books are going to continue to be circulated.
I know you mentioned business cards, and I know you don't want me to say this, but, I am what I am. I have your trifold cards. I don't even use them anymore because, like you said, the book, well, inside you open the cover of my book, I got a little line there I got what you guys did for me. I put my cell phone number there, and I actually signed my name in the cover of that book. So that's my business card.
And that's really how they're meant to be used. The trifold business cards, they're better than a normal business card, but really, yeah, like you said, handing out your book as the business card, and I love how you signed it. You just put like an image in there of your signature?
No, before I go on an appointment, I sign it literally in my vehicle before I go on an appointment. And I write in that line there I got, and I write cell, and I put my number right in there. And that cell number is a number that I track so I know where it came from. So I have a separate number just for all my books.
Nice. No, that's a great idea because I was talking to another agent and she, addressed it to the person, to Cindy and Bill, from Brenda. And then she would, to have it personalized. And a lot of members are saying, you know what? I give my book out and they ask me to sign it. And they say, I kind of felt weird signing it because it's like I'm a celebrity.
Joe, sorry to interrupt. We have a question from Courtney Holman. Are we going to be creating a similar system for buyers, supplying the leads and having the book sent, like a done-for-you type system?
Yes, Courtney, great question. We are working on something like that. And if you had your own leads where you could upload your leads and then start the process. So I'm going to get in touch with you as well and talk to you more about that. Maybe you can kind of give us some pointers if you're working with buyers. And so we would have a funnel done for you. All you had to do, pop your lead in there, and they'll instantly get your book and then follow up on some other pieces as well. Yeah, there's a lot of things we're releasing, and that's why we have the Smart Agent side, the Authorify side coming together just to give you guys more options and make it simpler. Because as a real estate agent, we know you're busy. We know you're running and you're wearing all these hats. And if we can take off just a little bit of the stress, a little bit of the process, and deliver a lot more listings, I think it'll not only help your bottom line, but we want to deliver value. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I like to get a book done for recruiting. I know I use videos for recruiting and stuff, but I think another ammo is, I got the books on selling your home, buyer's book, but credibility wise, I had a book for recruiting agents, explaining your firm, explaining our process, what we do, how we sell our home for more money, how we put more money in your pocket as an agent. I think that will go a long way too for recruiting.
Yeah, I actually talked to a couple of brokers, and that's what they asked me about too. So, yeah, we are. I mean, last year we bit off a lot. I don't know if anybody saw my year-end video. That was just a short recap. We bit off a lot because when agents came to us and said, "I want this, this, and this," we just said yes, and then we had to work our butts off. And so we're continuing that same momentum through this year. So you'll see a lot of stuff coming out this year, and so stay in touch. I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to sell you anything. I am, especially in this year, I'm solely here to collaborate with you, to give you more value. And if there's anything I can help you with, anything that we can change and improve, we're all ears, and we want to keep that dialogue going. So Phil, thanks a lot for piping up. I really enjoyed having you on here and being able to have some banter back and forth.
Oh, no problem, Joe. Thanks.
And thanks to everyone. I know it's been 6 minutes over the hour, trying to keep this at an hour. And so I'm going to let everybody off here. I'm going to follow up with some of these comments in the chat log. Sorry about the start. It was kind of rocky, but it's just like video. It's always going to be a little bit rocky the first time you do it. This is live. Before I signed onto the computer, I had some of my lights fall over. My computer crashed. It's life. But thanks, everyone, for showing up. I look forward to 2020. Look forward to serving you any way we can. Have a great week. And Caleb asked, will this be recorded? Yes, I will send out a recording as well. And so you can watch it if you missed something, or you can send it to someone who would enjoy this as well. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and we will talk.